Linking your data from one workbook to the next is really simple. It's as easy as actually clicking in a cell and hitting the equals key on the keyboard. For example, I want to be able to add up all or link up all the quantity in cells for the products here. And down below I have the employees who've kept track of those quantities for the year 2005, Dot Warner and Bill Moitner, Homer Simpson, and so forth. So I'm going to come back here, click in the cell here, hit equals on the keyboard, go down and click on Dot Warner's workbook, and then click in the cell here, C5, because that's the total quantity I want to get for Double Bubble. You can see up in the formula bar it's got in brackets the name of the workbook, then it has sheet 1 that it's referring to. You can see it's sheet 1 down here. Then it has the separator symbol, the operator, which is the exclamation point, and then after that it's got the cell C5. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the plus key on the keyboard. As soon as I do that, I can go to the next workbook, click in the same cell to add that one, hit plus, next workbook, same cell, plus, next workbook, C5 plus, next workbook, C5. Now I don't want to add any more, so I'm not going to insert the plus sign here, so I'm just going to hit enter when I'm done, and boom, it takes me back to the original workbook, and it gives me the total here that's linked to all those other workbooks. So if I make any changes within the other workbooks, it'll update this cell here. So let me go ahead and click on Dot Warner, change it from 200 and go down to, let's say, 0, hit enter, then go back to my consolidated workbook, and it's down 200 points. Now there's another way that you can link your workbooks as well. You don't have to do it by adding up cells. You can actually click within another cell and use your functions or formulas. Come up here, click on the Formulas tab. Instead of the sum feature, let's do something like average. So I can come in here, click on average. Now by default it's going to choose a cell within your workbook. Just ignore it. Go ahead and come down here and click on the next workbook. Come up here, click in the cell C6 because we want to be able to average that. Now I'm not going to put the plus sign up here because if you remember the function, you can see it down here, it's doing it number by number. So to be able to go to the next workbook and have that taken into consideration as part of the average, I'm going to use the comma. So I added the comma up here. Now I'm on number 2. That's in bold here, so it says, hey, you're ready to go to the next workbook and do number 2 here. Click on the next workbook button down below, click in cell C6, comma, and now I'm on 3. Go to the next workbook, C6, comma, 4, next workbook, C6, comma, and then the last one, C6, and then when I'm finished, go ahead and hit enter, and it's taken the average of all those workbooks within the same cell, C6. There's 137.8. So if I come in here, make the change, 137.8, it updates it, it's linked, it changes the average, increases it here. So let me show you what happens after you link your workbooks if somebody actually takes, like let's say Lizzie McGuire's workbook, and they move it out of the exercise folder, because that's where she's in right now, because the link feature is actually looking at a certain spot on your computer, and if you move it out of that spot, or in this case out of the exercise folder, it's going to give me a warning here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on save and close out of all my workbooks. I'll save them all here. Now within the exercise folder here, I'm going to double click and open that up. There's Lizzie McGuire, and if I click and drag her out of the spot that it's linked to within the exercise folder, again it'll give me a warning. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my workbook again, consolidate data. Gives me a little pop-up message that says, look, I can't automatically update the links, they've been disabled. So I can of course come here, click on the options and say, well, go ahead and enable this and update them, and click OK. Then it says, look, one or more of the links can't be updated, because again it was looking in that folder that I actually moved Lizzie McGuire's workbook out of. So if I go ahead and click on edit links and not bypass it, you can see there's the error. It can't find the source. So what I can do is select Lizzie McGuire, go ahead and click change source and browse and find it, and there it is on the desktop here, double click, and now it's OK, the status. It's actually still linked to it. You can see it down below. The location is now the desktop where everybody else is the exercise folder. Now if you close out of this window by accident, you're like, oh crud, I forgot I needed to make some changes or updates. For example, let's say that Liz McGuire got terminated and we have a new employee, Sally Smith. Well, maybe I want to go ahead and just change the links or change the source from Lizzie and just go over to Sally Smith. To do that, you just can come up here, click on the Data tab, go to your Connections group, and then click on Edit Links, and you get the same window. Then I can go ahead and select Lizzie and change source, and then, if Sally Smith is a new employee, change it, double click on Sally Smith's workbook, and Lizzie's no longer part of the equation. Of course, I can always verify this by selecting it and clicking on Open Source, and it opens up Lizzie McGuire's workbook. Close out of it, back to my consolidation, click on Edit Links. If I want to break any connections, well, it's actually an all or nothing. If I go ahead and click on break links, it'll say, look, you want to break every single one of them? Click break links, close. They're no longer linked, but it just gives me the remaining value at the last point that they were linked. Now, when I open this, if your message bar doesn't appear to give you the option to go ahead and automatically update the links, it's probably because your message bar has been turned off. Or if you want to turn it off because you don't want to have those pop-up messages again, you can come up here, click on the Office logo button, come down to Excel Options, click on the Trust Center category, come over to Trust Center Settings. Message bar, by default, it's going to show the message bar when any content's been blocked. And it considers not only macros that it wants to block as far as security goes, but also any links to other workbooks. Of course, you could say never show information about block content, and by selecting that, you'll never get that message pop-up. But I'll go ahead and leave it as show for now. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.